This is the deserved downfall of Cristiano Ronaldo.
La verdad que fue mi último mundial, sí, pero lo demás tener tiempo para pensar.
Not because Cristiano was never great, not because his career was overrated, no. This hurts because he dominated football, he won almost everything, broke almost every record, conquered almost every stage. But at the end of his World Cup story, one truth is impossible to hide. Cristiano Ronaldo never lifted the World Cup. And this has to be said. We are not talking about a normal player. We are talking about one of the greatest competitive forces football has ever seen. 5 Champions League titles, 37 major trophies, Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, the Champions League's all-time top scorer, Portugal's all-time top scorer, the all-time top scorer in international football, 975 official career goals, close to the mythical number, 1,000, numbers from another planet. For almost 2 decades, Cristiano was the most decisive player on earth. At Manchester United, he was speed, dribbling, arrogance, power, and hunger. At Real Madrid, he became a machine built to decide football matches. He did not need to dominate every minute. He only needed one cross, one rebound, one tiny space, one big night. In the Champions League, Cristiano did not play knockout ties. He hijacked them. Atletico Madrid,
Man, it's going to fall back to the feet of Ronaldo!
Bayern Munich, Juventus,
El toque de nuevo para Lucas, llegó golazo!
PSG,
Лукас Васкес, еще один кросс штрафную.
Manchester City. They all suffered him. They all learned that against Cristiano Ronaldo, the match was never finished. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. His career is built on numbers that almost feel unreal. But with Portugal, the data becomes even more savage. 146 goals in 233 matches. And the most absurd part is that Cristiano did not fade after turning 30. Before 30, he played 118 matches for Portugal and scored 52 goals. After 30, he played 115 matches and scored 93, 41 more goals in 3 fewer matches. A barbarity. But the more enormous Cristiano became, the more enormous the only absence in his career became. The World Cup. That was the trophy that could close everything. The trophy that could turn a historic career into a perfect story. The trophy that could silence every debate. The trophy that could make Cristiano not only the greatest goalscorer football has ever seen, but the man who carried Portugal to the highest place of all. But it never happened. And this is not coincidence. Cristiano played in 6 World Cups. He scored in 6 different editions, something nobody else has ever done. Germany 2006.
And scores!
South Africa 2010.
Edson. It's Ronaldo who's getting there first!
Brazil 2014.
Defenders, maybe there, Ronaldo!
Russia 2018.
El capitán se adelanta Ronaldo.
Qatar 2022. World Cup 2026.
5 in red in the middle, Ronaldo!
He surpassed Eusebio as Portugal's top scorer in World Cup history. He reached 11 goals and 2 assists in 26 World Cup matches. Even at 41 years old, he kept breaking records, becoming the oldest player ever to score a brace at a World Cup, at 41 years and 138 days. But one number destroys the entire story. Cristiano Ronaldo, the king of big nights at club level, scored only 1 goal in the knockout stages of the World Cup. 1. That is the wound. In the Champions League, he was inevitable. In the World Cup, when legends are crowned, he never dominated the same way. In 2006, he arrived as the kid from Madeira still growing. Portugal reached the semi-finals, and the world understood Cristiano would not be just another player. But he was not the owner of the stage yet. In 2010, he was already a global superstar, but Portugal fell short again. In 2014, he arrived physically limited, and the dream disappeared too early. In 2018, he produced one of his most iconic World Cup nights, the hat trick against Spain. Character, hierarchy, goals. But even that was not enough. Portugal fell in the round of 16, and then came 2022, the first truly humiliating blow. Cristiano lost protagonism, was benched in decisive matches, and ended up crying after the elimination against Morocco. That image did not show the invincible Cristiano. It showed the human Cristiano. But he tried again, after turning 40, with a body that could no longer always follow the mind, with everyone asking whether he could still be decisive. And Cristiano kept scoring. He arrived at the World Cup with 13 goals in his last 13 official matches for Portugal. He was not a sentimental decoration, he was still a lethal number 9, a finisher who could punish one mistake, one cross, one rebound, one bad mark. And Portugal were not just any national team. Before Cristiano, Portugal had played only 3 of 17 World Cups, 3 of 11 European Championships, and had never won a major title. They had qualified for only 6 of 28 major international tournaments, 21%. With Cristiano, Portugal qualified for 6 of 6 World Cups, 6 of 6 European Championships, and 12 of 12 major tournaments. 100%. They won Euro 2016. They won 2 Nations League trophies, 3 titles with Cristiano. 0 before him. That is his impact. Cristiano did not only score goals, he changed the expectation of a country. But do not misunderstand this, that does not erase the fall, it makes it more brutal, because Portugal were no longer happy just to participate. With Cristiano, Portugal got used to winning, qualifying and looking football superpowers in the eye, and that made the World Cup heavier, because now there were no excuses. There was talent, recent history, champions, a strong generation, and the greatest international goal scorer of all time. And still it was not enough. In 2026, the last dance ended like a sentence. Portugal lost 1-0 to Spain in the round of 16. Cristiano, at 41 years old, left the biggest tournament in the world, knowing there would be no other chance. Yes, he scored 3 goals at the World Cup, but in the match that decided everything, Portugal did not find the answer, and Cristiano did not find it either. That is the real descent from heaven to hell. From deciding Champions League nights, finals, league titles, and impossible comebacks, to saying goodbye to the World Cup without having enough to make Portugal world champions. Cristiano Ronaldo will never be a world champion. It hurts to say it, but it is the truth. Cristiano Ronaldo won almost everything, but he never won the World Cup.
Ha ganado 3 títulos por Portugal. Antes de Cristiano, Portugal no tenía ganado ningún título.
To understand why the World Cup became Cristiano Ronaldo's biggest wound, you cannot look only at his final match. You have to look at the whole story, because every World Cup arrived with a different reason to believe, a different Cristiano, a new opportunity, a new argument for why this time Portugal could finally touch the sky. Germany 2006 was the beginning. Cristiano was 21 years old, starting to establish himself at Manchester United. He was not yet the goal-scoring machine he would become, but he was already a physical and technical phenomenon. He had won the FA Cup in 2003 to 2004 and was becoming one of the most electric talents in Europe. At that World Cup, he started 6 matches, scored a penalty against Iran, and Portugal reached the semi-finals. That was his best World Cup run. Portugal lost to France, then to Germany in the 3rd-place match. But the feeling was clear. Portugal had a future, and Cristiano could be the man to take them to the top. By South Africa 2010, everything had changed. Cristiano was no longer a promise. He was a superstar. 3 Premier League titles with Manchester United, the 2007 to 2008 Champions League, the 2008 Club World Cup, a Ballon d'Or. And in 2009, Real Madrid paid a record fee to make him the face of their new project. He arrived at the World Cup at 25, the perfect age to start dominating international football. But Portugal were flat, 0-0 against Ivory Coast.
And for Ronaldo, made room for the shot. Oh!
7-0 against North Korea.
It's Ronaldo who's getting there first.
0-0 against Brazil.
Almost ran Lucio. Great opportunity here.
And 1-0 defeat to Spain in the round of 16. Cristiano finished with 1 goal and 1 assist, both against North Korea. The opportunity passed without explosion. Brazil 2014 looked like the perfect World Cup. Cristiano was 29 and in full maturity. He had produced monstrous seasons with Real Madrid. 55 goals in 2010-11, 71 in 2011-12, 58 in 2012-13, and 62 in 2013-14. And he had just won La Decima, the 2013-14 Champions League. He arrived as Ballon d'Or winner, European champion, and absolute leader. But the World Cup was brutal. Portugal lost 4-0 to Germany.
The game you feel this. Germany get another one!
Drew 2-2, with the United States with Cristiano assisting Varela in stoppage time, and beat Ghana 2-1 with Cristiano scoring.
Goalkeeper and defenders, maybe now Ronaldo!
1 goal, 1 assist. Group stage elimination. The best club version of Cristiano could not save a broken Portugal. Then came Russia 2018, his greatest individual World Cup. Cristiano arrived after the most dominant period of his Real Madrid career. Champions League 2015-16, Euro 2016 with Portugal, La Liga 2016-17, Champions League 2016-17, Champions League 2017-18, Club World Cups, European Super Cups, a 5th Champions League title, 5 Ballon d'Or awards. He was the king of big nights, and he started that World Cup like a beast. A hat-trick against Spain in the 3-3, the winning goal against Morocco, 4 goals in the group stage. For a moment, it looked like the Cristiano of the Champions League had finally entered the World Cup. But Portugal drew with Iran,
It goes again.
finished second in the group, and lost 2-1 to Uruguay in the round of 16. Again, individual greatness was not enough. Qatar 2022 arrived with another Cristiano. He had already played for Juventus, winning 2 Serie A titles, Italian Super Cups and a Coppa Italia. He had returned to Manchester United, but that story ended broken after the conflict with Erik ten Hag. With Portugal, he still had 2 massive redemption arguments, Euro 2016 and the 2019 Nations League, where his hat-trick against Switzerland in the semi-finals pushed Portugal toward the title. But in Qatar, Cristiano was no longer untouchable. He scored a penalty against Ghana, but was benched against Switzerland and Morocco. Portugal destroyed Switzerland 6-1 with a Gonçalo Ramos hat-trick. Then they lost 1-0 to Morocco in the quarter-finals. Cristiano walked away crying, and for the first time the question was no longer whether he could win the World Cup. The question was whether Portugal were better without him. And still, he came back for 2026, at 41 years old, playing for Al Nassr, still chasing 1,000 goals. He already had more than 970 career goals, 146 for Portugal, 5 Champions League titles, 37 official trophies, 5 Ballon d'Or awards, and impossible records. And he had just won another Nations League in 2024-25, Portugal's second and Cristiano's third major international crown with his country. The 2026 World Cup was the final door. He scored twice against Uzbekistan and became the only player ever to score in 6 different World Cups. But Portugal drew with Congo,
Neto, great header.
Drew with Colombia, suffered against Croatia, and lost 1-0 to Spain in the round of 16. Cristiano finished with 11 World Cup goals, a historic number, but with a brutal truth attached to it. The tournament that was supposed to crown him denied him again. Cristiano did not lose the World Cup once. He lost it through 6 different versions of himself. And every time the same truth came back. The greatest goalscorer Portugal ever produced changed his country's history. But he could never take it all the way to the top of the world. But the problem with Cristiano Ronaldo in this World Cup was not that he stopped being great. The problem was more cruel. Portugal kept treating him like he was still the Cristiano who could break a match by himself. And that Cristiano no longer exists. Before, Cristiano was a total threat. At Manchester United, he could receive far from goal, face a defender, accelerate and finish the move himself. At Real Madrid, he became even more lethal because he understood that the box was his kingdom. He attacked spaces, anticipated centre-backs, dominated in the air, punished every rebound, turned half a chance into a goal. In the Champions League, he did not only finish plays, he conditioned matches, but now at 41 years old, Cristiano is something else. He still has goals, he still has instinct, he still has box movement, but he can no longer create the move from zero. He can no longer press for 90 minutes. He can no longer explode into space like before. Now he needs Portugal to feed him. And this World Cup proved it. Against the Democratic Republic of Congo, Portugal drew 1-1 in a disappointing opener. They started well with João Neves scoring after a Pedro Neto cross, but then became slow, flat and predictable. Vitinha, João Neves and Bruno Fernandes touched the ball too much in comfortable zones. Congo closed spaces, defended with order, and Cristiano barely participated because Portugal could not deliver the ball to him with advantage. In the second half, he had 2 clear chances. First, Francisco Conceição created on the right and cut the ball back. Cristiano finished first time and sent it wide. Before, Cristiano needed 1 chance to change history. Now he can have 2 and change nothing. Against Uzbekistan, everything looked different. Portugal won 5-0 and Cristiano scored twice. But even that match explained his current reality. His first goal came from a Cancelo cross. His second came because Bruno carried the ball with space, filtered the pass, and Cristiano finished 1-on-1. But that does not prove he can carry the team. It proves that when the team works, he can still finish the job. The problem appears against serious opponents. That showed another limitation. When the opponent defends forward and does not allow him to live comfortably in the box, Cristiano no longer has the speed to adjust every time. Against Croatia, Portugal survived by miracle. Cristiano scored a penalty, his first goal in a World Cup knockout match, at 41 years and 147 days old. Historic, yes, but he did not win the match through open play. Croatia were better in the second half. Diogo Costa kept Portugal alive, and Gonçalo Ramos scored the 2-1 in the 94th minute. In fact, when Cristiano came off, Portugal recovered some balance in midfield, and against Spain, the sentence arrived. Portugal lost 1-0 with a late goal from Mikel Merino. Cristiano had 1 chance after Bruno recovered the ball from Pedri, but Unai Simon saved it. After that, Spain won through the collective. Portugal, meanwhile, lived from impulses. And here comes the uncomfortable part: his ego. After the elimination, Cristiano defended his legacy by saying that before him, Portugal had no titles, that with him they won 3, and that Euro 2016 has the same dimension as a World Cup. Part of that is true. Cristiano transformed Portugal, but Portugal did not win Euro 2016 because of Cristiano alone. Eder decided the final. Renato Sanches was key. Pepe was enormous. Rui Patricio kept them alive. And in the Nations League titles, other teammates also appeared. So when everything is told as, with me, Portugal won, the team receives a message. Everything still revolves around him. And when everything revolves around a 41-year-old who can no longer be the system, the team pays the price. That is the tactical tragedy of Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup. Before, Cristiano made teams better because opponents lived in fear of him. Now, Portugal played with fear of taking him off, and that is why the downfall feels so cruel. Portugal kept building around the memory of a player who no longer existed, but the World Cup does not reward memory, it rewards the present. And the present was clear. Cristiano could still score, but he could no longer dominate. Cristiano could still be useful, but he could no longer be untouchable. And by the time they understood it, the World Cup was already gone.